Welcome everybody to this first introductory webinar of WOW. It is a very, very important day for all women ophthalmologists across the world, and we all are very, very excited to welcome everybody here. We have lots of interesting things to tell you, a lot of opportunities that are coming down your way. So wait to hear those opportunities and take those opportunities. We start by a video. That's a welcome video for WOW by our very young and dynamic executive member, Dr. Iman. So Iman, can I request you for the video?
Absolutely, Dr. Sharma. Thank you so much. It is my absolute pleasure to be sharing this video with you all. If you can please stop sharing. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Famita Karani from Vancouver, Canada, and I wanted to personally welcome you to WOW, Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide.
Namaste and hello everybody. I'm Dr. Mohita Sharma from India, and I welcome you all to WOW, Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide Network, a unique opportunity to network, collaborate, and support each other.
Assalamu alaikum. मेरा नाम प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर हुमा कैनी सेगल है और मैं एक पाकिस्तानी ऑप्थेल्मोलॉजिस्ट हूँ। आप सबको वुमेन ऑप्थेल्मोलॉजी वर्ल्ड वाइड फोरम पे खुशामदीद। जी आया
বাংলাদেশ থেকে আমি প্রফেসর আবা হোসেন আপনাদের সবাইকে উইমেন্স অপথলমোলজি ওয়ার্ল্ড ওয়াইডে স্বাগত জানাচ্ছি।
Welcome to WOW, Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide.
Hola, bienvenidas a WOW, Women Ophthalmology Worldwide. Es una asociación de las mujeres oftalmólogas del mundo.
مرحبا السلام عليكم معكم الدكتورة فاطمة المختار من البحرين. Welcome to WOW. مرحبا بكم في WOW, Women Ophthalmology Worldwide.
Namaste. Kenya से डॉक्टर प्रभा चौकसी, Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide का स्वागत है.
Namaste. मैं डॉक्टर इंदिरा पौडेल, नेपालबाट WOW, Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide मा सबैजनालाई स्वागत गर्दछु. धन्यवाद.
Hi, I'm Erin Shriver from the United States. Welcome to WOW, Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide.
Hi, I'm Swati Tomar from India. Welcome to WOW, Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide.
नमस्कार, म डाक्टर इलिबला नेपालबाट यहाँ हरू सबैजनालाई WOW, Women Ophthalmology Worldwide को तर्फबाट स्वागत छ. धन्यवाद.
বাংলাদেশ থেকে আমি প্রফেসর ডক্টর নুজহাত চৌধুরী আপনাদের সবাইকে Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide বা WOW এ স্বাগত জানাচ্ছি.
Hello, I'm Sarah Wester from the United States of America. I wanted to welcome you to WOW, Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide.
Hi, I'm Dr. Vanessa from Malaysia. Selamat datang dan salam sejahtera kepada WOW, Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Ford from Bristol in the United Kingdom. Welcome to WOW, Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide.
שלום, אני עירית ברקת מישראל. ברוכים הבאים ל-WOW, Women Ophthalmology Worldwide.
Hello, my name's Maria Musaji from the United Kingdom. Welcome to WOW, Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide.
Jambo, jina yangu Dr. Prabha Chopsi kutoka Kenya. Karibu WOW, Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide.
Salam, مرحبا بكم في WOW, Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide.
Thank you so much, Iman. That was a wonderful video and very, very inspiring and exciting. So as we start to talk about WOW, the first thing that we need to know is why at all did we need to create this network? And to answer this question, we have none other than our dynamic chairperson, Dr. Famita Karani from Canada. So Dr. one second. Dr. Femida Kerani is from the Medical School and Ophthalmology resident. She did her residency from Medical School and Ophthalmology, University of Alberta. She did her ASCO PRS Oculofacial Plastic Surgery Fellowship from University of Pennsylvania and is an assistant professor at University of British Columbia and University of Calgary. She is the founder of the Canada chapter of Women in Ophthalmology, and she's also the president of Canadian Society of Oculoplastic Surgery. Along with this, she has been the Women in Ophthalmology program chair at the Canadian Ophthalmological Society meeting from 2018 to 2021. So we are very, very lucky to have Dr. Femida Kerani with us, and she will tell us why at all this network was needed.
Thank you so much for the introduction. And as I try to load the screen here, I'll just try and load up. I'm really excited to be here and welcome everyone. So, as Mohita said, I'm based in Canada, thank you. And we had this inception of this idea of an international network in 2019. And we were very lucky to be hosted in Bangalore, and we had a founding meeting where we talked about this idea of a network together, bringing the sisterhood of international women together. And of course, the goals were to support equity in ophthalmology with a community-based approach, collaborate, reach out, and create a networking team. So why do we need this? Why is WOW important and ever more now? So as we look around and think of women ophthalmologists around the world, think about your residency, your fellowship, your staff positions, your positions in committees and in organization societies. Where are all the women? And what I have noticed in my career is that I find that there are few women that continue on this path and few women that make it to this podium mentorship staircase. So when you look at women ophthalmology or the Association of Women Surgeons in India, only 700 out of 25,000 surgeons are women. So if you were the single woman here amongst this group, this person here will need a bit more mentorship and support than all the others because there is an existing systemic mentorship for those people. We can see that there have been some studies about this that evaluate personal and practice profile of men and women ophthalmologists. This one is from India, and it shows that although ophthalmology is a rewarding career, which we can all attest to, the female ophthalmologists often curtail their work for family needs, earn less than the male ophthalmologists, and that the female ophthalmologists reported that they were subject to gender bias at the workplace. Ophthalmology in Canada also is underrepresented in the women. 28.3% of women in 2019 were ophthalmologists. And although the number per capita is decreasing for all ophthalmology, the number for women overall is increasing, as we can see in this line, in this graph here. So again, you can see 28% of women in ophthalmologists in Canada are women. And we can see that there is a young group that's coming through. And we would like to support the younger ophthalmologists in this progression. So in the US, we can also see that there are more women actually. Some of the studies have shown that the women and minority groups are traditionally underrepresented in medicine, but definitely there has been an increase in the number of women. And in David Park's Current Perspective 2017, it was really rewarding to see that he said fully half of ophthalmology residents are women. Staff positions, practicing ophthalmologists in the US, about 34%. And the key points from that article were that 50% of ophthalmology residents in the US are women, 34% practicing ophthalmologists are women. Of the 32,000 American Academy members and fellows, 43 out of 155 committees, 28% were women. 32% of the council was female, and 35% of the trustees. So the message is work still needs to be done in some areas to fully neutralize and support gender on promotion, recognition, and compensation. So we are excited to bring all of the women together so that we can see this progress. And as George Bernard Shaw said, progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. So together we will achieve more with WOW. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pamela. Can you stop sharing the screen, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
So now we'd like to move on to our chairs, and I'd like to warmly welcome Dr. Mohita Sharma, who of course needs no introduction to this group, founder, general secretary, founder of the Women Ophthalmology Society of India, founder and chairperson of the Tirupati Eye Center in Noida. She's been a specialist for 27 years, ex-president and secretary of the Noida Ophthalmology Society, and has been invited to speak at over 400 national and international conferences. There are many, many awards, and I'm just so pleased to work hand in hand with Mohita as the secretary for this lovely organization.
Thank you so much, Pamela, for your kind introduction. And I'll just share my screen. So one sec, please. So I'll be talking about the inception and activities of it's going to come. So I'll be talking about the inception and the activities of WOW. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. So as they say, every big thing has a small beginning. And as Pamela just shared, WOW also had a small beginning. We thought about it way back in way back in 2018, when me, Dr. Pamela, and Dr. Susan in Jaipur, we discussed this as a small idea. And it was in 2019 that we planned an international conference in Bangalore in India, which was a combined conference of Women Ophthalmology Society of India and WIO US. And there we met and we made a working group, and we decided on working for WOW and taking it forwards. And this is where it was launched. This was in July 2020. And the main aim was to support equity for all women ophthalmologists by by community collaboration, outreach, and networking. And the aim was to connect women ophthalmologists all across the globe on a common platform for professional success. We already knew that there were sister organizations similar to WIO US, similar to WAS in India, which were existing. And some of them were existing, but all of them, whenever they formed, had a common problem as to, and the problem was that there was a lot of question on why it is needed. A talk, the answer to which Femida has already given. So we thought we would form this network, and this network's aim would be development of more new sister organizations. And along with this, we would also strengthen the already existing organizations in their leadership and education. And basically, we would connect women across the globe on a common platform for professional success. That was the whole aim. We have planned out a lot of activities, and I have highlighted a few activities because these are going to be the main areas of work and focus areas of work for WOW. We'll have webinars, which will be quarterly webinars based on different regions, but the main area of focus will be exchange programs. Since this is a platform in which so many countries are coming together on one platform, so this is the best opportunity to have exchange programs. And these exchange programs would be in the form of surgical trainings, observerships, and fellowships. In fact, we had conducted a survey in India around 4 years back, and we tried to find out what was the basic need of women ophthalmologists from any society. And the answer that we got was that majority of women wanted enhancement of their skills, whether it was surgical skills or it was clinical skills. And that is why we think that the main area of focus should be enhancement of skills. And this can be done very well with exchange programs. And along with this, there can be exchange mentorships also. And we have planned these programs as short-term programs because women have this unique challenge that because of their several responsibilities, they may not be able to give too much time for any exchange program. So we are planning them as 1 to 6 months short programs, which they are able to do. The second highlighted thing in this slide is collaborative research and combined surveys. The research is something which is very, very important. And through this network, we want to promote research. And we know that already there are some research groups all over the world, and each is functioning on its individual basis. We want to get them all together on a common platform and do collaborative research. In this, we would be starting with combined surveys, and then we would be going on to more of clinical translational research. And along with this, we have planned combined academic activities in the form of combined courses and conferences, one international conference a year. And a very exciting thing is an international journal, which would be made, or a newsletter. One of our members, Dr. Ellie, is the editor for this. And this would be a unique opportunity for many women ophthalmologists to publish. And last but not the least, very important for everybody is volunteer social work. So this will be one more arm of WOW, and through this, a lot of good social work would be done. So I want to say, join us at WOW and become a member. There are a lot of member benefits, which we have already enumerated. And for now, any women ophthalmologist can be a member, and they may or may not be associated with a women's organization. If they're associated with a women's organization, already they automatically become members, but they can become direct members of WOW also. And for now, the Executive Council has decided that there will be a free membership for the members for women ophthalmologists who become members for now. So this is a great opportunity for all of you to become members and take these opportunities which are coming your way. Thank you so much.
Wonderful, Dr. Mohita, excellent. So now we will encourage everyone to be a member, and of course, members.
We're building, and it's extraordinary, and I see it growing very fast. And I want to say to each one of my colleagues, I see your brilliance and your beauty. And I also see we're already all role models. We're all mentors for the other women of the world. And each and every one of you has power to change other women's lives. And I think if we take this leadership and bring it into our communities, we can really change the world for our daughters, our nieces, and for our sons, because women have so much to contribute to the world, and we also have a different way of doing it. And I think the world could use a little more of female leadership. So thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I really appreciate that message that actually we are all so powerful already. And that's one of the messages that, we've heard sometimes, when our residents and our fellows are there, they don't feel as powerful as they should. I'd like to now introduce Dr. Ava Hussain, who is one of our advisors as well. She is the director of her eye hospital in Bangladesh, and she's had over 40 years of teaching experience. She is the president-elect of the Asia Pacific Academy of Ophthalmology and the chairperson of the Asia Pacific Academy of Ophthalmology Women in Ophthalmology Program Standing Committee. She is the first ever female president-elect in the Asia Pacific Academy of Ophthalmology in its 61 years journey. So that's really remarkable. And again, is yet another inspiration to us all. She's won many awards and, of course, has been an author of over 70 publications. So welcome, Dr. Ava Hussain.
Thank you, Femida. I'm really so happy and delighted to be a part of this. So that it is so nice, and Dr. Mohita and Femida has already explained the activities, the action, the objective, the aims, and everything. But I'm thinking that time is an illusion, said Albert Einstein, as because it seems to be yesterday that we have started my association with AO in 2019 in the working group at Bangalore, India. So I am really grateful, and my heartfelt thanks to Femida, our president of this AO, and the dynamic leader, the secretary, Dr. Mohita, along with the advisor, Professor Namrata Sharma, Shushan, and others, all, Irene Shivar, Shati Tomar, and the Prabha Joki, Arati, Vanessa, Professor Nuzhat Chaudhuri, Eli Pradhan, Maya Hada, Shati Tomar, and all others. Imen, really, I'm so happy and so thankful to you all that you are all my inspiration. I'm always trying to learn every day from you. So I know we have a lot of program today, so I won't talk much. Thanks. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Ava. You really are an inspiration to us all, and really have broken the glass ceiling that we've all encountered many times. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and also Dr. Namrata, who is yet another advisor. I'm just going to see your slide introduction here by Dr. Mohita. But Dr. Namrata.
Yeah. Hi.
Just waiting on your slide introduction, Dr. Mohita. But we know that Dr. Namrata is a big leader in the All India Society of Ophthalmology and is really a strong force in India, leading women in ophthalmology amongst a large group. So we'll let you go ahead.
Yeah, so thank you, Dr. Femida, for having me here, both Dr. Femida and Dr. Mohita. I think you all are doing a great job by making WOW. I do recognize Dr. Ava Hussain, Dr. Susan McDonald, and Dr. Helen, who are the co-chairpersons with me. So lovely to see all of you. And you very rightly showed that women are underrepresented when it comes to leadership roles. I think I would like to just share one thing. It is not merely representation. Sometimes when you do get into those leadership roles, you really, even after going into that leadership role, it's a struggle, because to assert yourself, to put in your views, to make things happen as you would, as your thought processes, as your vision is, of course in conjunction with everybody, it sometimes gets difficult. So your story actually starts when you get into that leadership role. It doesn't end there, because you are just in there, and the journey begins from there. Very well highlighted by you, Famida, that fellowship, observerships, training, research, mentorship are the things that all of us are looking at, and that our young ophthalmologists are looking at. And that is something which we should focus, and which is also the subject of today's webinar. So I'm sure it will help all our young ophthalmologists, our not so young ophthalmologists who are wanting to reorient and be re-mentored for reasons that they have taken a break and want to re-enter into the ophthalmic arena. And it is a pleasure to see the whole society grow, wow, grow. And each time we come to the meeting, it is ever expanding, which is itself a delight to watch. And I'm sure it will go a long way with all the dynamic ladies and all the lovely ladies here. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. I think that that's the key, is that, our skills and our opportunities bring us to the table, and then it's actually our chance to lean in. Just because we get to the table, we're invited in the meeting or at the committee or wherever, or, wherever you are, it's then is the chance, as the single woman, or maybe there's another woman at the table, that's our chance now to say, why not? Or could we think of it in a different way? And I think that the network that we envision in our minds is a chance for us to say, and have the strength to say, why not? Or, how can we do it differently? Or in my experience, this might be just a different way of doing it. And in a nice way, right? I think that's the key, is that, I don't think that any of us are trying to be abrasive, but we're just trying to be collaborative and support more women forward. So thank you for those words. I really think, it's remarkable. Everyone here, as you said, and as Susan said, everyone here is already a mentor. Everyone is already there. We should all feel very proud to be here. And it's our chance now to pull others forward, lead others forward, and push all of the women in ophthalmology forward globally. So our last chairperson is Dr. Helen Dinesh Meyer. She is the Sir William and Lady Stevenson Professor of Ophthalmology Chair at the New Zealand National Eye Centre, University of Auckland in New Zealand, and the first female professor of ophthalmology and the youngest professor in the surgical subspecialty in New Zealand. So we'd like to welcome her, although I'm not sure I saw her on the side here on the list, but if she is here, Dr. Helen, please feel free to pipe in and say a few words.
I think she has yet to join, so we'll take the program forwards, Dr. Famida.
Okay,
right?
perfect. Thank you, Dr. Sharma.
Thank you for all the lovely introductions. Sorry, there was a slight net problem in between. So we go on with our talks now, and we start with the first talk, which is by Anjula Masurkar. We are very lucky to have her here. Anjula Masurkar is a clinical director of Entod Research Cell UK, Entod Pharmaceuticals India Private Limited, and Entod International Group. And we have heard her talk before, and I feel we are very, very lucky to be hearing her again. So Anjula, we welcome you here, and we to start your talk.
Thank you, Dr. Mohita. Good evening, everybody. My name is Anjula Masurkar, and I'm the Clinical Director of Entot International. I'm here today to talk to you about the challenges that women face in ophthalmology. I seem to be having some problem with the, I'm just going to try and share it again. Perhaps the wrong one. Okay, so there we go. Right, so, well, the biggest challenge revolves mainly around gender inequality. This picture clearly shows the reality that working women are subjected to on a daily basis. For working mothers like myself, we would have to add many more chores to this list. Coming down directly to the challenges that we see currently. First and foremost, gender inequality. Now, this stems from stereotypical ideas regarding roles and responsibilities of men and women. As we all know, women are constantly having to juggle work with family commitments. Next thing is harassment. Now, harassment is a very sensitive and important issue, which seems to be prevalent as well. It can take various forms from verbal, taunting to sexual harassment. There's also a gender pay gap that we've noticed. Men and women don't seem to be getting the same pay for the same work that they do. We seem to have a lack of role models for the leadership positions. There's a lack of support for working mothers post-maternity leave. Also, there's a lack of opportunities and low self-esteem. The same network opportunities that are offered to men don't seem to be offered to women. And strangely enough, I feel that women are quite shy to promote themselves, to market themselves, and we're sometimes quite weak at negotiation skills. Lastly, here, I'd like to mention the glass ceiling effect. Well, I firmly believe that we have reached a point where women are already actively involved in breaking this ceiling, even though we still have a very long way to go. More and more women are being appreciated for the unique qualities that they bring to the workplace, and we should indeed celebrate those achievements. If there is any take-home message today, I would like to say, teach your daughters, any of your other female relations, to worry less about fitting into glass slippers and more about shattering glass ceilings. This is a quote from Michelle Obama. No country can truly flourish if it stifles the potential of its women and it deprives its population and contribution of half of its citizens. Now, we all know there are more and more women in ophthalmology today than ever before. Gender diversity is key for success. Diversifying a variety of top positions ensures that the best resources are used to maximize every organization's potential. Looking at some measures to ensure gender equality in the workplace, we have to make sure that there's a zero tolerance policy when it comes to harassment, and there should also be support for victims. Coming down to remuneration, it is mandatory for equal pay for equal work, irrespective of gender. Looking at recruitment strategies, merit should be the most important parameter while interviewing. We should have robust training programs in place. We have to identify potential women early on and help them grow through training and mentoring to take on senior posts. At this point, I'd like to mention organizations like the WIO, OWL, VWUK, WOS, and now WOW are all doing a commendable job in empowering women with the IDOL platform to flourish. We have to look at improved back to work policies for mothers. We need to support them with flexibility in work and childcare. We also can't forget the millennial dads who are ready for equal partnership, both at home and at work. We also need to support them with flexibility working hours and paid paternity leave. Most importantly, we should all strive to create a culture that is welcoming and aspiring for all our talented women, provide them with a conducive environment to let everyone thrive and contribute positively to the ophthalmic fraternity. Let's all choose to challenge is this year's theme for International Women's Day. We can all choose to challenge and call out gender bias and inequality. A challenged world is an alert world, and from challenge comes change. There are no limits, ladies, to what we can accomplish, except the limits that you place on your own thinking. The magic happens when you step out of your comfort zone. I'd like to end by thanking Dr. Mohita Sharma for this opportunity. I feel privileged and inspired to be amongst such distinguished and remarkable ladies who are fully poised to take ophthalmology to new heights, if not, they're already doing this. And I wish women ophthalmologists worldwide all the very best in its endeavors. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Angela. And you very well enumerated all the challenges, and all these challenges, as we all know, are universal. They are not limited to one country, and they are the challenges which every country, every woman ophthalmologist in any country faces. So this was a very useful talk for everybody. And now we go on to the next talks. As I already said, there will be a program on mentorship, and these will be international mentors, which you will have an opportunity to choose. So we will now request Dr. Ava Hussain, Professor Ava, Madam, to talk about mentoring, the way forwards.
Thank you, Mohita. I'm just sharing my screen. Thank you, Mohita. Good evening to all. My topic is mentoring, a way forward. So what is mentoring? Mentoring is a process of organized relationship between mentor and mentee. So mentors have two roles, that is one as expert and the other as a role model. No? Mentee must be willing to accept challenges, be committed in the mentoring process, be willing to learn, and must have trust and confidence on the mentor. So what is the responsibility of the mentor? Not to transfer his or her knowledge to mentee, but to prepare, ending searching for knowledge and skill. Mentoring are two types. One is academic mentoring, another one is organizational mentoring. That is teaching, coaching, supporting, and guiding. What we are every day doing to help our resident, to help our student, and our mentees. This might be one-on-one mentoring, or it might be a group mentoring. Organizational mentoring that helps to increase the achievement rate, promote learning, personal development, and problem solving. Organizational mentoring is for career advancement through supportive supervision. The way forward, the characteristic of high quality mentoring should be identified. Identify the condition necessary for high quality mentoring and describe how mentee learn more with effective mentoring. With this, based on this, a guideline should be developed for effective mentoring. To achieve a high performance of mentoring, there should be clear vision and clear understanding on the expected outcome. Trust have to be built between mentor and mentee. Motivation plays an important role in determining the level of performance. Delegate responsibility with clarity. And there should be effective communication and feedback by the mentee to the mentors so that there will be a proper evaluation. The mentor must be respected by the mentee, and there should be a positive relationship between mentor and the mentee. Mentee must have access to the mentor, and that should be ensured. Otherwise, there will be a communication gap and all the mentoring process will be hampered. For the update of progress, there should be a regular meeting with the mentor and mentee so that they can exchange their views, they can know each other, what task is given and what remedy the mentee has done, and these are all possible in a regular meeting. Facilitate to develop knowledge and skill up to the set standard. And supportive supervision is very, very essential for a high performance mentoring. Keeping the mentoring momentum, motivation, development of attitude, behavior, development of knowledge, skill, supportive supervision and evaluation can shift the current practice to the best practice. So what are the quality of a mentor? Listen well, effective communicator, inspiring, adaptable, ability of engaging the mentee, show empathy, have patience, share best practice, and very sound knowledge on the subject. So, mentoring facilitates stepping to grow. And with these few words, thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, madam. That was a very wonderful talk. And it was nice to hear about what mentoring is all about. And let us now hear about what the perspective is of mentor and mentee is. So to hear about what mentors have to say and what mentees have to say, first of all, we would like to invite Dr. Swati Tomar to talk about a mentor's perspective. She's the Joint Secretary of WOW and also the regional lead, and she comes from India. Dr. Swati has done her fellowship in cornea and anterior segment from LV Prasad Eye Institute, Hyderabad, and she's currently the director and consultant of Swanetra Eye Hospital in Jaipur. She has created her an eye bank, which is meant for community services, and that's a great achievement. And she got the Young Achiever Award in the year 2017. She's also a part of the Corneal Surgeons Task Force of Sight Life, and along with this, she's the state chapter head of Rajasthan chapter of Women Ophthalmologists Society of India. So let's hear what Dr. Swati has to say.
Thank you, Dr. Mohita, for such a over the a very large intro, which probably I'm very humbled, and thank you so much for this. I now moving forward from what Professor Awa said, and probably she has said the most, and She has actually looked into every aspect of mentoring, and but as a mentor, I had a couple of things to share with everyone. And as she already said that a mentor should have a desire to succeed and a willingness to pass the information. But for me, the most important thing when I look back as being mentoring people is a feedback, because unless you have a feedback from your mentee, and that feedback back is really important, because unless your mentee gives a feedback and you understand how the mentee feels or what are the needs of the mentee, you can never be a good mentor. And also I believe that a mentor can only take you as far as you're willing to go, because not that a mentor is a god, and not that mentor is there to hold your hands all the time, but definitely they help you choose the path, they help you take you to that path, and help you try and reach that goal of yours, which could be very, very important for your future. So I feel if as a mentor, if the mentee is only sharing the good news, then probably the mentor is just an analyst, and that you're somebody reporting to, and that probably would not help. So it's not only the good news, it's actually the bad news that you should share with the mentor as a mentee. And how I looked when I was a mentee was that I used to go to my mentor and say that I have this problem and I'm struggling to deal with it. So have you come across something similar before? And that is where the experience of the mentor counts, and that's where that the mentor comes in place, and it holds your hands or tells you about his experiences or her experiences, and probably that's how they can help. So finding a great mentor is like finding a great friend, because you're kind of sharing everything, and sometimes it becomes a personal kind of a problem also that you can share with your mentor. So you should be at ease with your mentor to share a lot of information. But when you grow as a mentor, I feel the mentorship is leadership. So it's actually a situational leadership we are getting into, and also that you kind of, the mentor also evolves with the mentee, and it is not only the technical skills that you are bringing a mentee up to, but also the individual development, and it's actually a developmental progression for both the mentor and the mentee together. So conceptualizing this model, which was very well taken up when we did WAS, and both in all our conferences, we had this one-to-one interaction with the mentor and mentee. And this is what we actually look forward to take it to WOW also. And one very important concept that was bring to WAS by Dr. Mohita was a one-to-one surgical training. So this was a live session. A mentor was allotted a mentee, and they were randomly chosen. It was not that they were kind of matched, but they were randomly chosen for the conference. And the mentee did a live surgical session with, and the mentor was the assistant. And this was broadcasted live throughout the conference and to the whole of the viewership. And this was taken really well. And during that session, the mentee actually learned how to do a live session. So this was something which was done for the first time in India and by WAS in one of the conferences. So I always feel that as a mentor, when you start with dealing with a mentee, you always tell them, you actually motivate them and inspire them that you can do this. But a lot of times it just goes down, and probably there can be n number of reasons for the mentor-mentee not getting up to what a mentee wants. But actually over a period of time, when you are with the mentee, you kind of realize what the weaknesses are and how that you can overcome them. And you always kind of encourage the mentee that don't give up, and you're almost there and you can always make it. So that is how you keep motivating them to at least let them have their goal. And this is what mentorship is all about. But the sad fact is that just like finding a good partner or a husband, it is very difficult to find a great mentor also. But if you don't try, you will never get it. So finding a great mentor could be the most impactful step of your life. So it is very, very important that you find your correct mentor, and the mentored individuals become more satisfied, successful, and confident professionals, because they have a path to look upon, and they always have somebody to, you know, kind of share their weaknesses or shortcomings throughout the professional or personal life. These are some of the mentors that I really look upon to. There are many, many more that I haven't shown, and because of lack of and paucity of time, the mentors could be your, you know, your teachers, your colleagues, your friends, and your you know, kind of seniors in college. And I always look upon to them, and they have been really, really helpful in throughout my professional and personal career, and they have become really great friends to me. And this is how I feel that, you know, I would say that just keep meeting new people, be open to ideas, and, you know, be open to coming up and saying that, hey, I want to do this, or can you help me in this? Be very, very open to this. It's nothing that, you know, you should not take it on your ego. And best of luck, and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Swati. As you said, it's very difficult to find a good mentor. I'm sure WOW will come out with a list of a long list of mentors, easy to find and ready to mentor everybody. So now let's hear what a mentee has to say. And here we have our young Iman, who's there to tell us about the mentee's perspective. She's the executive member also of WOW, and she's also looking after the social media team. And she's the young ophthalmologist. She's the one who started Young Ophthalmologist team of Morocco. So, Iman, we would like to hear from you the mentee's perspective.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction, Dr. Mohita Sharma. First of all, I know that we have a lot of attendees from India. I hope everyone is safe and healthy where they are. It is an absolute pleasure and honor to be sharing with you my mentee's perspective. And so to do so, I thought I would just tell you my story, which began when I started my residency back in 2015. As you can see, I joined a great, wonderful, big smiley team in Rabat in Morocco. It was supposed to be the best department of the country, and I was very excited to start my training with them. But as you can see in these photos, most of my colleagues, seniors, professors, and attendants were male. And I never took that into consideration when I started my training, because I was just eager to learn, do my best to be the best ophthalmologist that I could ever be. However, throughout the time, I started asking certain questions that I found were answered with a certain unconscious gender bias that was in the air. It might have been unconscious, but it has always been very loud and clear to me. Things as basic as what resources should I use, or things as complex as what should I do with my career and my future, were answered with a very clear hint of gender bias. I was always told, well, you know, because you're a woman, maybe just do this, or well, you know, because you're a woman, maybe just think of that instead. And so this was very bothering to me, because I never took the gender into consideration when it came to career, and I thought that it was always and had to always be just based on merit. And so because my immediate environment did not have the mentorship that I thought I needed, which was, let me clarify, female, I really needed that extra dimension of a female perspective for my own mentorship and to answer my questions. So I started going beyond my immediate environment and went to my phone. I used social media and all the platform that I had in my phone in order to find influential ophthalmologists. And I started finding great women ophthalmologists who were very influential in the world of ophthalmology and felt really like rock stars to me. So starting to reach out to them and write to them felt like, oh, they'll never answer, but trust me, they always did. And they have been the best mentors that I had from 2016 maybe until today. These women and much more, maybe the ones that I didn't have a chance to take a selfie with, have had a pivotal role in my development in my career. I have done so much in my residency. I am so proud of all the things that I have achieved, and trust me, that was really thanks to them, because instead of being told, well, you know what, why not just go with the classical path of residency? Instead, meeting these women and just knowing them, sometimes just by example, I thought, well, if they did that, then maybe I can do it too. And so that was a great model of mentorship that has helped me tremendously throughout my training. And I am so happy that I met all these ladies, and I kid you not, it was the number one factor that made me accomplish so many things in my residency than all of my peers combined in my department could not have achieved. When I talk about mentorship, I always try to specifically say that female mentorship is important for a female ophthalmologist trainee. A young ophthalmologist definitely needs a female role model in their lives. But the male mentors also play a great part, especially when they are conscious of this gender bias that is in the air. I have had the honor of being mentored by Dr. Florian Kretz when I did a research fellowship during my residency. He was not only aware of the gender bias, but was always pushing me to speak up about it, to start the conversation, and to make things change in my own way. And so when I found those mentors, it was not definitely the classical way of having them in my department or in my immediate environment. But trust me, all of the questions that I was asking before were answered in a completely different way that only pushed me forward in my career. And so if I have any message to give, especially to young ophthalmologists today, is that be proactive. Look for mentors wherever you can find those. And at the moment you start learning anything in ophthalmology, trust me, you can always be a mentor to someone else who's just starting. And honestly, it cannot go any other way. Empowered women empower women. And I am so happy to be part of WOW, which is a platform that will allow finding these mentors in a very structured, great academic way. But I'm also very happy to share with you that if you are an Arabic speaking ophthalmologist, we'll also have a micro community of women in ophthalmology Arabia that you can all join in our Facebook group. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm very happy to be presenting in Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide in this inaugural meeting.
Thank you so much, Jimain. Anybody would be lucky to have a mentee like you. And I soon see you becoming a mentor the way you are progressing fast. And anybody would be lucky to have a mentor like you.
Thank you so much.
So let's go on to the next topic and the next most important thing that WOW intends to do. And let's talk about this. And this is networking. So we invite Dr. Vanessa Naseem, who's an executive member of WOW. She's from Malaysia. And she's an oculoplastics surgeon by training, and she's working in Penang General Hospital. She worked in Penang General Hospital, and she's one of the founding members. She's one of the founding members and at present chairperson of Malaysian Oculoplastic Group, as well as counselor in Asia Pacific Society of Oculoplasty and Reconstructive Surgery. She's also in the International Advisory Board. Sorry, I can't read the whole thing somehow. So let's invite Dr. Vanessa Naseem to talk about networking.
Thank you, Moita, for the nice introduction. So, just give me a moment. Okay. So today I'll be talking on, can you all hear me?
Yes,
we can hear you, but we can't see the slides.
Can you see the slides?
Not yet.
Okay, hang on. Okay, just give me a minute.
So while we're waiting for the slides to come up, I just want to let you know that when I look at my mentors, I have to say 3 of them were men. And it was an extraordinary experience to have male mentors in a time where I was trying to manage my career. But I really have to thank them for that.
True. Yeah, true. Thank you.
Okay, can you all see me?
Yes, we can see.
Yes,
Can you
perfect.
see my slides?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so I'll be talking on networking and broadening horizons and focusing objectives. So my name is Dr. Vanessa and I'm from Malaysia. If you see the map, this is Malaysia, and I'm currently presenting from Penang, which is a beautiful island in the northern part of Malaysia. And this is the Penang. It's actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So networking in the long time was misconstrued as a form of marketing and a form of selling yourself. But this is actually not true. Networking, by definition, is an exchange of information and ideas among people within the same profession or with special interest, usually in an informal setting. So networking actually plays a great role in our personal growth and in our career progression. So in the olden days, women were confined to the four walls of the house and were basically homemakers. They didn't have any opportunities for professional development, leave alone networking. I was very intrigued by this movie called Outlander. It is a story about this female surgeon who was transported back in time from the 20th century back to the 18th century. She actually had a tough time explaining to the people that she was a female surgeon. People used to ridicule her and call her a witch. Eventually, when she saved many lives in the war with a great surgical skill, the people of her village in the 18th century go on to recognize her as a female surgeon. So that was the life in those days. We are much better off now, but we still have a long way to go. So, as we all know that networking is good for mental and physical health, human beings are basically social creatures. We derive great pleasure in having a good social network. It is a great predictor of long-term happiness. Long-term happiness, in turn, is a great predictor of long-term success. Also, sometimes when you're going to a difficult patch in life, falling back on a good batch of friends helps to combat loneliness and depression. So this is a picture taken during our annual dinner of my island hospital, where a few of us colleagues are having a light moment together. So when I was starting off as an ophthalmologist, as a young ophthalmologist about 20 years ago, I used to attend a lot of meetings in the Asia Pacific region. I used to attend meetings to present papers, to learn from the experts. And during the process, I ended up making a lot of friends in the Asia Pacific region. Eventually, in the year 2018, I was called on to be a counselor of the Asia Pacific Oculoplastic Society. Looking back, actually regularly attending professional meetings and social events actually helps one to build a reputation of trust, a reputation of confidence, and a good rapport. This in turn helps you to advance your career. So as I became a part of various organizations such as the Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide and also the Asia Pacific Oculoplastic Society, I began to interact with people from different parts of the world. I got a deep insight into their cultures and into the way they work. This was an excellent source of new perspectives and new ideas. We exchanged a lot of information. It was also very helpful when I wanted to organize meetings in my country, in Malaysia. I had this whole network of people who I could fall back on and who could help me make the meeting a success. But networking is not always about taking. It is also about giving ideas. Giving ideas in turn help you to improve your reputation and your confidence. So as we all know, life is a long, arduous journey. Sometimes we can get lost along the way. Having a group of experienced experts who can give us advice, help, tips, and support can make our journey more smooth. It is like when you're climbing a steep hill and you're tired due to a mental and physical exhaustion. A few friends along the way can help pull you up to the peak of the hill. And the view from above there could be so much more magnificent than you could have ever imagined. So how do we network? How do we improve confidence? Many of us, like myself, we're very shy and introvert. We have to start off with small beginnings, maybe start off meeting a small group of friends, maybe prepare early on what to chat with them. But eventually, when you get out there, it helps you getting out of your comfort zone. And this helps building valuable social skills and confidence, and it makes lasting connections. For example, during the oculoplastic meeting in the year 2019, I met all of you ladies from the WOW group, and until today, 2 years down the line, we have made lasting connections, and we have been meeting virtually for the past 2 years. So networking helps in developing long-lasting friendships. The strongest and long-lasting friendships, as we know, are all built from work because we are similar people with similar interests and similar goals. So it helps us keep abreast of the latest developments. For example, I'm an oculoplastic surgeon. In a meeting when I meet many of you about corneal surgeons, or retina surgeons, or pediatric ophthalmologists, I get to know some things about the latest development in your field, which might also be helpful to me. As we all know, when we reach a particular level in our career, most of the jobs are not advertised. But if you have a network of friends and a network wherein you yourself are known as a reliable person, as a knowledgeable person, it opens new windows of opportunity. So this is also during one of the oculoplasty meetings in India. This is me with the Bangladeshi colleagues, me with the Nepalese colleagues, and then this is the Indian colleagues and other surgeons from the Asia Pacific region. And after this meeting, we still kept in touch and developed long-lasting friendships. So in short, networking keeps us healthy, happy, wealthy, and wise. So what are we waiting for? Let us join the WOW, Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide. We can help each other and make this world a better place. This was the last physical meeting that we organized in February 2020 in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. It was a great pleasure to have mentors and colleagues from the region attend the meeting. And the following month, in March 2020, the pandemic struck the world and we could never meet each other physically since then. So, well, thank you for your kind attention. And we are still grateful because with technology, we can still interact and share our knowledge. Greetings from all of us in Malaysia. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. And we really liked your line. What are we waiting for? Let us just join WOW Net and get ready to connect and network. So let's move forwards now. We invite for the next talk, Dr. Huma Sehgal, and she's from Pakistan, and she's also an executive member of WOW. She will also be talking about networking, how it helps. Dr. Huma is the chairperson and head of department of Fatima Jinnah Medical University in affiliation with Sir Gangaram Hospital from Lahore. She has been a supervisor and examiner of FJMU and of College of Physicians and Surgeons Pakistan for FCPS and VRO. She's the founder and general secretary of Women in Ophthalmology Pakistan. I remember 4 to 5 years back, we were talking about it when we attended WIO, and just a few months later, she actually did it. And she's also been a scientific co-chair of Lahore Ophthalmological Society, ex-joint secretary, Lahore Ophthalmological Society, executive member of Lahore Ophthalmological Society, and chairman, Institute Review Board of FJM. So Dr. Huma, please.
Thank you, Mohita. I mean, I couldn't have had a better introduction than this one. Thank you for all. And it's a pleasure to be a part of WOW Women Ophthalmology Worldwide and being to talk and express on the first webinar, which I think has become a historic one today. And a pleasure, and feel so good and excited to, be meeting such eminent women leaders, ophthalmologists of the world, and being a part of it. So we're already sharing, we're already learning, and we're already networking. So what I'm presenting today is a continuation of what has been already talked about, and we will be discussing, we'll be discussing the networking and continuation of that. So when we talk about networking, we actually, we need to know what, it's networking. Before we do that, we need to know what the network technology is all about. So when we say it's network or network technology, this is a technology which is used to exchange the data between small and large informations. And this can be used in educational institutions, in businesses, in health, and you just name it and sky's the limit. But in order to know the network technology, it is based on transmissions and it's based on the scales. So since I think the time the man is born, or it's like has been man, woman, everybody is here, we have been doing networking. So it is just has been organized into words, or maybe in a technology wise, but I think from the Stone Age time, man has been doing networking. and there has been an online and offline. So when we say offline social networking, this is something which is about face-to-face, when you're sitting with each other, talking, discussing. There were times of letters, I still have letters of my parents, writing to each other. And that was also a way of networking and also a way of communicating with each other. Then we have telephones, and then we have printers and other things also when we socialize, when we talk, when there was time when we used to, hold hands and shake hands, which has become, I think, something we're really looking forward to in the future. So all that is also in a way of online networking, which can be social and it can also be investive also. So then came the era of, the online networking. And when we say online, came the modernization times of the internets and the firewalls and the routers. So we all became, or we all got connected with the world in such a nice way, so that it was not just meeting or taking time out, or actually making an effort to be somewhere with somebody. You can be mobile, you can be, walking around, you can be in your room, you can be anywhere, and you're connected with the world. And it's not just the world, I think it's the universe and it's the space. Anywhere and everywhere you get connected with just a fingertip away. So you can get connected with your laptops, with the mobiles, with your PCs, tablets, printers, you name it. And it's just within seconds, you get to know and you get to get that information, that knowledge or that advice that you actually had to make an effort to do it. So this is the era of the networking and online networking. So when we look at global social media online users, if you look at from the past to the present to the future, and that's just 4 to 5 years. In 2017, it was seen that we're talking about in billions. There were about 2.86 billion users who were using these network facilities to get to know each other and get their way through. And when we go to 2025, this will double to about 2.96. So that is the importance of networking, and this is the importance of online users. So what do we actually do when you're using this network facilities or network servicing? What exactly is happening? Two ways: either we're spending time or we're investing time. So when we're investing time, we're actually in a very casual mindset. We're just trying to pass time and have a good time. So we socialize, we stay in touch, we get entertained, and then all in all, we're trying to kill time. But then the network has a very, very important phenomenon, in which is known as investing time. So when we're investing, it becomes a very purposeful thing and very purposeful mindset. So users start to use and improve themselves and the future. And for that, they use it for, in order to maintain their professional identity. They can make useful contacts, research for opportunities, and all in all, just like we all are here, we're trying to stay in touch. So the social networking services, and that is available, and we're using it right now also, as in a form of, it's like a blooming tree. So there are promoters, there are services that are coming, they are increasing. And by the time, maybe over the years, this tree will blossom and bloom into God knows how many more network sites and network services that we will be using too. So what exactly do we do with these networkings? How does it help us? There are lots of benefits from it, and if you look at it you can have it in any order. You can get to control and have a power over your career. You can understand your career options, just looking and going through the servers, looking and talking to people, looking up and discussing things. You get stronger where your career options are concerned. Then there is visibility and reputation of building. When you're talking, you're discussing, people watching you, people hearing you, your actually reputation is building in a nicer way, and you're getting to the top of the pyramid. And then you hear about many and unadvertised opportunities. Those opportunities, when you're offline, when you're talking, discussing, can't be done. So best by fingerprint a different networking, you come to hear about these things that are, that might just be like it might be just like a dream for you. So you come to know about these things. then just like us sitting here, and you've talked about such beautifully, Dr. Ava and others, and Iman and others have talked about it, you locate your mentors, and even the mentees look at the mentors. The mentees will become future mentors, and then you develop, you look for and you find sponsors for, your work, yourself, and your support system. So it's like locating mentors and sponsors as well. Then we like this networking right now that we're developing, we have our peer supports, and this peer support is not just national, it goes to the level of international level. You improve your productivity, there is access to easy information, difficult information, trick information, all that helps in improving your productivity. You develop new skills, you learn new skills, you never, just like it was told in the beginning, you navigate the glass ceilings, you can even break them, you improve your credibility, you are like, there is recognition both from the internal and external factors, you share your experiences and you experiences. So besides that, you build long-term relationships and good reputations, you expand your contacts, just like I'm doing right now. I'm looking at such beautiful, eminent leaders from all over the world. And, I'm looking at them, and I think I have gained many friends today, many leaders, and who will probably will be my mentors in the future. So apart from that, we open door to different opportunities. We're meeting people who can assist, and like you, if we can assist, we can reciprocate as well. We apply transferable knowledge. Knowledge is like has no doors, no boundaries now. So you can transfer them. You build a lasting professional connections. You find mentors and mentees. You develop a complex, compelling elevator pitch. So you develop and you learn from your seniors and from your colleagues and your friends how to produce, or how to within a few limited time and limited words, how can you improve on presenting yourself? And that is what elevator pitch is all about. And in reality check, and sometimes we feel that we know everything and we've reached to the top of the scale, and when you meet your colleagues and people from all over the world, you realize it's not just you. There are people who know more and better, and you will learn from them. And that is like a reality check, and that is an upward comparison. So at the end, I would just like to say, well, that's what we're doing right now, isn't it? We're doing networking at its best. Here is like Women Ophthalmology Worldwide, the thing where we're getting into added with Women in Ophthalmology USA, we have Women in UK in Vision, then we have Women Ophthalmology Society India, followed by Women in Ophthalmology Pakistan, and just now I founded Women Ophthalmology Arabia, and many, many more. So ladies, we are already networking, and this is networking at its best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Huma. And now we go on after networking. Let's go on to the next most important thing, and that is education and exchange programs across borders. As I said, this is one of the focus areas of WOW. And we have Dr. Rebecca Ford to talk about this. She's also the vice chair of WOW, and she's from UK. She's a consultant oculoplastic surgeon at Bristol Eye Hospital, UK, and she has a special interest in medical education. She was at London Jean Reeve Fellow in Medical Education and completed her master's degree in surgical education at Imperial College London. She's the incoming chair of the Education Committee at the Royal College of Ophthalmology. And she's the current chair of the Thyroid Eye Disease Charitable Trust, a charity dedicated to supporting patients with thyroid eye diseases. So Dr. Rebecca, we would like to hear from you. What are the future plans of WOW to do these these exchange programs?
Hi, everybody. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Lovely. Okay, so I'm going to talk about education and some of the opportunities that WOW can provide for us to share education around the world. So I'm sitting here in Bristol in the UK, but reaching all of you around the world, because we're now in this international digital age that allows us to share our education across borders and share our learning throughout the world. So as a new organisation, WOW needs to think about what its educational goals might be and how these will align with the aims of WOW in career development for women and opening up equal opportunities and possibilities for us. And I think, as others have touched on, women are the future of ophthalmology. They're the majority of medical students in most countries and the majority of residents in many programs, but still not represented on the highest levels. So I think when I was a young student and doctor, I was possibly a little bit naive. I didn't come from a medical family, and I thought until surprisingly late in my career that career success and recognition as an expert or leader in our field depended purely on knowledge, talent, or skill mastery. But actually, it depends on some other things as well. There's who you know, the connections you make, who your teachers are, and who can invite you to join research groups and committees and things like that, and also who sees you, whether you've been sorry, that's my cat whether you've been given a platform to share your ideas or be seen by wider colleagues who in turn wish to connect with you. So when we're thinking about what to do for educational projects with WOW, I think we need to look at a few principles before we look at our methods and topics to choose. So we want to make our any educational offerings free wherever possible by women ophthalmologists for women ophthalmologists, but without exclusion of anyone. And we've already discussed how male mentorship, male allyship, and working together with all of our colleagues is critical for everybody's career success. So the methods we can use, we can do all sorts of things these days, like webinars, courses, meetings, exchanges. We've had some inspiring talks about mentoring, but we need to work in collaboration rather than in competition with other organisations, national and regional women's organisations, and to highlight women's good work to a more international audience. So we can do that by highlighting women speakers, but also picking topics to talk about that highlight women's challenges and achievements. So when we might in future organise webinars and courses that are to do with clinical and non-clinical topics, and we might want to focus on some clinical topics where women are underrepresented. For example, certainly in the UK, vitreoretinal surgery and corneal surgery, women seem to be very particularly underrepresented, but also looking at topics like leadership, gender and eye health, and how to promote allyship to allow diverse success in ophthalmology. So when we're thinking about highlighting the talent of women in ophthalmology, women are often not well represented as expert course tutors or invited speakers. And sometimes it can feel like there's a bit of an old boys network. So in this little joke cartoon, the lady's saying, well, people say medical societies can feel like an old boys club. And the man is saying, well, that's simply not true. They only say that because coincidentally, we don't have any women in senior leadership. But it's not always a coincidence, is it? So why do we need some of our own events? Well, women speakers are often underrepresented at the existing meetings. So I took a look back at the World Ophthalmology Congress last year, that was online, and found that 34% of the invited speakers were women, but 48% of the abstract presenters were women. So more of the people submitting their own research work and presenting their own work by peer-reviewed submission were female. So there's a little bit of an imbalance there about who's being invited. And some meetings are a lot worse. When I looked at UKISCRUS, the UK and Ireland Society of Cataract and Refractive Surgeons, they really were bringing up the rear with 4% invited women speakers in 2019. And sometimes industry-sponsored events can be worse. And that doesn't sound like it would be important, but it may be important because the industry sponsored speakers can be sort of funded to be opinion leaders in our specialty. So what sort of events should WOW be running? Well, I've touched on the fact we can easily run webinars like this one. We can have courses. We can put ourselves forward to have conference sessions at other conferences, and they can be clinical and non-clinical. And I think it's important that as an umbrella organisation that we take a role in publicising and signposting events from like-minded societies. So the other thing that we really want to do is promote learning exchanges across the globe. So sharing ideas, fellowships, observerships. So again, looking at some ICO data, this is International Council of Ophthalmology Fellowship data. So in the ICO exam, women make up 55% of the candidates, and the pass rate is the same for male and female candidates. So that means more women are passing this exam than men. And the exam is one of the key things that permits people to score well and progress into taking the fellowships. However, when it came to the fellowships, only 1/3 of the people awarded a fellowship were female. That was partly because only 1/3 of the applicants were female. So even though female applicants are given a little bit of a priority and a boost, only 1/3 of the people getting the fellowships were female. So we need to look at why that might be and how we can encourage and support women to do this. And I suspect that the reason that they're not taking international fellowships is that they maybe aren't feeling supported enough to do it. So what can we do as WOW? Well, we can promote fellowships with women supervisors or supervisors and mentors like Iman mentioned, who might be male allies, as in people who are aware of the challenges that women ophthalmologists might face and are particularly good supervisors and allies. We can help to link potential fellows with supervisors and perhaps fund fellowships in the future if our organisation becomes big enough to do that. So we also need to be exchanging ideas at all career stages. So our learning doesn't stop when we finish our residency or even our fellowships. So we can promote observerships for people of all levels, maybe who want to come and learn a technique with a really short visit, or maybe something a little bit longer to further develop their skills. We can look at mentoring and international buddying matching. So, you know, for myself, as I'm coming into a new role as a chair within our national organisation, I'll be looking for people to mentor me who've done similar roles before. And we might find that some of our residents would like to be buddied up with residents abroad, and maybe matching people working in countries that have different programs and different opportunities. So one thing that I've got planned that we can be starting is to build our WOW fellowship database, which is to build up a list of fellowships with women ophthalmology supervisors or identified ally supervisors. So I'm about to launch the survey. So to register your fellowship, if you're a fellowship supervisor, I would like you to fill in the details on your survey, telling us more about your fellowship, what's available, what subspecialties, and all sorts of things like that, the length of time of the fellowship, what funding people might need. And you can access that either with this QR code or with the link that we've got there, and I'll show it again at the end. So the final thing I wanted to touch on is that we can be, as an organisation, working on some education-based research. So we can use WOW to build a network to investigate how best to promote education for women in ophthalmology. So we need to be thinking about what are the challenges, what are the barriers, and what are the solutions that women face in our ophthalmic education, how these might differ around the world, and to identify issues where we might need to lobby for change. So that's all I'd like to say for now. Thank you very much. I really look forward to getting involved in some educational projects with all of you, and the future is looking bright.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. That was very, very interesting, and the future actually looks bright. And for everybody, as Rebecca said, that there is there will be a survey coming up, and you will be asked to register your fellowships so that they can be compiled, and a fellowship program of WOW can be started based on that. So we look forward to that survey for this information. And I'm sure all of us who are looking after fellowship programs would be ready to give this information and take up fellows for future. So now we go on to Dr. Fatima Al-Mukhtar, who's from Bahrain, and she will talk about education across borders. She's giving a practical experience of what education across borders has been for her. Dr. Fatima is a consultant at Al-Masawi Specialist Center in Orbit and Oculoplasty. She has actually done her long-term fellowship training at Narayan Nethralaya in India, and it's a super specialty eye hospital at Bangalore in India. And so she would be the best person to tell us what education across borders is like. She has a 15 years of cumulative experience in ophthalmology, and she's in the Central Arab Board of Health Specializations in Ophthalmology, and also a member of ICO, member of Bahrain Medical Society, Bahrain Ophthalmic Society, and a member of All India Ophthalmological Society and Oculoplastic Association of India. So welcome, Dr. Fatima.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mohita. I'm going to share my screen now. Yeah, I would like to thank the organizing team of WOW for actually giving me this opportunity to share my experience in education across borders. And to speak in honesty, like the magic of studying across borders was a dream come true to me. And not very long ago that I have just recently graduated my fellowship and completed my fellowship. But my story does not end here, actually. Being from the Middle Eastern country on the equator to the largest South Asian countries across the globe, I've learned a lot of things that not only related to education, and I would really like to share my experiences. So my journey started when I was 15 years old, when I joined a boarding school in the Princess of Hill Stations, which is in Kodaikanal, India. And from there, I joined Kasturba Medical College in Manipal, Karnataka state. And finally, I've joined Narayana Nethralaya Hospital in Bangalore and completed my fellowship. So studying abroad is like a once in a lifetime opportunity that will pass in a blink of an eye, I would say. Like it is not only basically education. I'm not only going to focus about education. It's more about realizing that you can handle your homesickness, you are pushing your comfort zone, and that you are ready to face an unfamiliar day in an unfamiliar country. So technology is all around us, and everything can be done basically digitally nowadays, but believe me, nothing can be basically replace the experience and wisdom of actually studying abroad in a different country. So this is just a slide showing, like most of my presentation is just going to be pictures, and my experience cannot be just explained by words. So education is the centerpiece of any study abroad trip, but I'm going to focus on being an Arab woman. Leaving my country at a very young age was not very easy, but fortunately I had very supportive parents who believed in me. The third time leaving my 3 kids to do my fellowship was actually the most difficult. But this education motility, it not only impacted me positively, but it also impacted my family, my friends, and also people around me who were with me in the fellowship, my friends in India as well. So if you see a picture here of my daughter actually doing her own pancakes, which would never happen if I was around her, basically. So this is something that she learned, not only me. So there's nothing quite like if you're alone in a foreign country. And basically, I have experienced so many things, including I have been an independent person, and my independent nature flourished while I was outside. So there is also positive things like openness, meeting new people, the patience you will have to learn and to learn the new language, the new situation, learn how things work in the new place and the new country. All these are challenges that I have flourished in, I believe, and I proudly say that. And also I would say the confidence. Right now, I feel that I can live in any country, in anywhere in this world. So this is something that I'm proud of. I'm proud to say that the power of women is something that I experienced while I was doing my fellowship in Narayana Nethralaya Hospital. I'm proud and privileged that I have worked with an all-women department in orbit and oculoplasty, and that was headed by Dr. Roshmi Gupta, who was the most experienced and talented surgeon I have met. I've improved my skills to another level. If I wasn't abroad, I don't think I can reach to this level. Also, I have seen cases that I don't think I would ever see in my life if I wasn't studying abroad, especially in India. So all these things are basically something that will make me be proud and tell to everyone that nothing is like when you leave your country and see different things in life. So it gave me a whole new perspective, and I'm proud to say that I've learned from the best people abroad. Let's not forget something very important, and it's the culture and friends that I've made. The fascinating culture in India, their festivals, their custom, their street food, it is something that I've never experienced in my life before. And the best way to learn is to dive in. And that's what I did, as you see from my pictures. I believe that the bonds of a genuine relationship, it creates a new story. And everything starts with a relationship, and that's what I did. I valued my friendship, and I have made lifelong friends. And actually, some friends I met during my abroad study, they are right here on this platform, and I'm proud to say that I know you guys through my abroad education. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here today. This is what I can say. Another thing that let's not forget our hidden talents that have been unleashed just because we left our country. And learning about yourself is one of the very important things that you would discover when you leave your country. I'm a way out of education just to give a break here from all the serious talks, but these are some of my talents. I have learned to keep henna, which I have done for some friends a few days back in Eid. This is my makeup artist on a beautiful model. And also I was invited by Ford organization, Warriors in Pick. These are survivors of cancer who I also have kept my makeup on. I would say that a new place, going to a new place by yourself is overwhelming, but trust me, it's worth it. This is, I would humbly say that this is where I am today, and it's because of my experience. Thank you very much for listening, and I'm sorry if I took a long time. And I would like to thank the organizing team for giving me this opportunity to share my experience. It wasn't very educative oriented, but I wanted to just let you know what are the other positive things that you can gain by leaving the country. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fatima. This is what we wanted to hear from you as to what your experience was. Definitely education is an experience, but there's a lot more that you learn when you go for education across borders. And you have highlighted that very, very well. So now we go on to the next talk, and this is about research. We all know that research is very important, and research is somehow a neglected entity, and through WOW we want this to come in the forefront. So let's hear Dr. Erin Schreiber talk about why research is important. And Dr. Erin is the clinical professor, Chimo Brian Gross and Donita Gross Professor, Department of Ophthalmology and Visual Sciences, University of Iowa, USA. She is the immediate past president of Women in Ophthalmology and immediate past president of Iowa Academy of Ophthalmology at the State Society. She's also a leadership development program graduate through AAO and American Society of Ophthalmic Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery delegate to the AMA. So welcome, Dr. Erin, and we would like to hear you talk about why research is important.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you all so much for putting this together. I know it's been a lot of work, and I very much appreciate being a part of it. I've thoroughly enjoyed our fellowship, having the opportunity to meet with many of you at the World Ophthalmology Congress, at the WS meeting, the WAS meeting in Bengaluru. And I feel so fortunate to have friends now around the world. I was shocked to hear how few women ophthalmologists there were in India, because as I had just written to the group on the chat, I know way more women in India than men. So I feel very fortunate to have friends around the world because of this organization. If you had told me 10 years ago that I would be asked to talk about research, why it's important, I would have laughed at you. I did not go into ophthalmology with any interest in research at all. In fact, after fellowship, I took an academic position, but it was at a satellite office. I was focused on clinical, taking care of patients and teaching, and research was not part of it. In fact, I wrote about 10 papers in my 13 years of med school residency, fellowship, and 4 years into practice. So it was not a priority. It wasn't something I was passionate about. I wanted to take good care of patients, and that's what I wanted to do. But I'm an oculoplastic surgeon, and being in practice for about 4 years in, I soon realized, hey, there's questions that I can't have answered. And if they're not in the textbook and nobody's really written about it, if I want to take good care of this patient, I've got to figure out the answer to this question. And so that really made me think, I've got to look at things differently, and I've got to really delve into this myself. I also had a patient with a condition, bleb-induced lid retraction was what I thought she had from a bleb, from a trabeculectomy. And I went to my mentors and they said, oh, that doesn't exist. I said, well, there's a case or two out there. They said, oh, no, that doesn't exist. And that's when I realized, all right, I got to tackle this on my own and figure this out. So I actually moved I was at Bascom Palmer, I was a student in Florida. I actually moved to the University of Iowa and joined the main academic center there. And those two things, kind of the timing was such that I didn't choose to move for research, but I then had this team of medical students, residents, and faculty and fellows, whereas before I'd been at the satellite. And then questions just kept popping up. So you can see here, the center patient was the first patient that got me thinking, I've got to take this on. Yeah, I really just want to take care of patients, but I think there's some vector force model at play here with this bleb. And so I worked with a biomechanical engineering, actually an undergraduate student. We came up with the vector force model. And we determined, we showed the physics of why the lid sits where it is. And that physical model has helped with lateral canthal tendon disinsertion patients. So for most of my research has all been patient-centered. So when we talk about why is research important? Well, it's important because there's some questions that you're going to have about your patients, and you're not going to be able to figure it out unless you tackle it, because otherwise nobody may look at it. So we looked at how to, reconstructive techniques, intimate partner violence, what I'm going to talk a little bit about there, but body dysmorphic disorder. I had a patient with sebaceous carcinoma, and it looked like a chalazion. The conjunctiva looked quiet. Do we need to do conjunctival map biopsies? Nobody had really written up the data well on that. I had a patient that lost vision from orbital compartment syndrome after a burn. So we started to look at who do we need to be screening pressures on in these burn patients, and what are the markers in the trauma patients for orbital compartment syndrome? So I surprised myself, but I ended up figuring out that I love research when it relates to my patient care. And actually, I can tell you for each of these projects that we've written about, I have one or two patients in mind that I've actually given the paper to afterwards. Say, hey, you brought up this problem with us. We didn't know how to treat you, but now we know. Thank you for helping us figure this out and for inciting the fire of research under me. And then I put just down the bottom here 2 other projects that I've been involved in that didn't directly relate to patient care, but they're related to education, and education then relates to direct patient care. We were having residents that had verbal sexual harassment from patients. So we've written about that, showing the data on that, and then showing how to handle it. We've also looked at training of the non-dominant hand using fine motor skills. And then recently we're putting a paper together on neurostimulation. So we have a neurostimulator headset that they wear, and how their cataract surgery and posterior segment surgery skills have improved with using that simulator. So looking at how can we make our training better for our trainees and then our patients. Now, answering the problems of my own patients has been my main driver. And so I think that's the biggest thing. But what else have we been able to achieve from research? Advocacy. We talked about that sexual harassment from patients, body dysmorphic disorder patients, getting them the help they need. but also raising awareness of intimate partner violence. And it started with one patient. A fellow told me, hey, I think that I had another patient with intimate partner violence who was assaulted by her boyfriend, and she actually did better after surgery. Do you think that maybe surgery could help these patients move on? And I said, I don't know anything about intimate partner violence. I don't know how to talk to them. I don't know what to say. Should I talk about the situation? Should I talk about their home life? Should I talk about if law enforcement's involved? And that got us looking at these projects. And then now I've been spreading the word. And it turns out if you do research in an area that not a whole lot of people do, you can get a lot of interest and really and make a name for yourself in some way. So just from this project, it's not me alone. Again, I don't have an interest in doing a lot of the data crunching. I don't have a good statistical background. I have the passion and I enjoy editing the papers. So we've had a big team of med students, undergraduate students, statisticians, and we've been able to, it's brought me actually to some of you where I've gotten to travel and meet people around the world talking about intimate partner violence and the research we're doing, and hopefully making an impact, getting these patients help and saving their lives potentially. It also actually has given me an academic niche that I didn't necessarily anticipate. And so that's been really rewarding because I received an endowed professorship from my university, which gives me the funds to do further research, to travel. It helped cover the trip to India for the meeting and do the things I want to do. So I feel fortunate that I had that opportunity. And it was because I was engaging in research. The other thing that I wanted to mention is I'm on a mission to improve equity within oculoplastics. So we're a small field, and when we look at our data, most of the time people report their outcomes. So they say, you know, I did this eyelid retraction repair and the MRD1, the marginal reflex distance 1 improved to this number. So we improved from 5, from 7 to 3, and they can say that's why their results are a success. But often it's the surgeon that's measuring their own outcomes. And sometimes people even say the patient was happy, or I graded my outcomes and the patient was happy. Well, if you can imagine, when you're in a situation where there are the lead people in the field, people who are very well known in the field, and then there's newcomers trying to come in and kind of make a name for themselves and figure out, well, I have this new technique. Is it equal to or better than these currently published techniques? There's no way to really compare them unless you have good objective outcome analysis. So my mission is to improve equity in oculoplastics by having by kind of trying to limit the bias that's inherent in oculoplastic outcome analysis. So I'm doing image analysis of all my patients pre and post-operatively. And then I'm using image analysis also of works of other surgeons as well. So this takes out the inherent bias. You can't say there's this famous oculoplastic surgeon and he says that his outcomes are great, and so his technique must be the best one. Well, let's put it to the test. Let's put it up against our outcomes or this new person's outcomes and see which technique is actually better. So I've found that since we're talking about a women's organization, this for me has been very an important mission I have within my field, is to improve equity within surgeons and within authors for publications. Also, the one last thing about doing research, it gives you the opportunity to have publications, be on a podium, which brings visibility, which is important for raising the number of women that are on the podium. Also, when you are an expert in the field and you know the data and you know all the papers, that gives you confidence, and that confidence is perceived, and people can see that you have confidence when you're speaking. And that's something that's really helped me, because I struggled with that often, particularly early in my career, knowing when feeling like I deserve to be on the podium, and the research has helped me with that. Additionally, it's given me the opportunity for teaching and mentorship. So working with medical students, residents, undergraduate students, sharing their enthusiasm, getting them to come to meetings, and actually having lifelong friends from it. And then being in clinical trials really has been helpful to me. We were involved in the phase 2 trial of teprotumumab. Being one of the first ones to have access to that drug and get that drug for our patients has been a great opportunity for me in terms of getting involved in advisory boards, consulting, further studies, and then publications, and also getting my patients to be able to have the latest technology that's available to us right now. So thank you again for the opportunity to be here, and I'm really enjoying this session.
Thank you, Erin. You very well answered the question as to why research is important. And now let us request Maria Musaji to talk about, can research be a career? Many times we are asked this question, why research? And when this question is answered, the next question is, can research be a career? Because we tend to think we all are ophthalmologists, so we are clinicians and we are surgeons. So why should we actually think about research, and why should can we actually make it a career? So let's invite Maria Musaji. She's a clinical scientist and the best person to talk about this. She's a consultant in genetics eye diseases at Moorfields Eye Hospital and Great Ormond Street Hospital for Children. She's a professor in molecular ophthalmology at UCL Institute of Ophthalmology and a group leader of ocular genomics and therapeutics at Francis Crick University. She's also the president of Women in Vision UK and the UK Eye Genetics Group. So we have a lot to learn from her, and let's hear her talk.
Thank you so much, Mohita, and thank you everyone for inviting me to speak today. I'm just going to share my screen. There we go. So, I mean, in a nutshell, can research be a career? And the answer is yes, and I could leave it at that, but hopefully I'm going to give you some pointers and convince you that it is a worthwhile career choice to enter into academic ophthalmology. So this is my career to date, just to give you a kind of a guideline as to how I've ended up where I am. So as part of my medical degree, I undertook a BSc in biochemistry and molecular genetics around the time when the human genome was being discovered. And a year or so after my qualifying as a doctor, I undertook a PhD that was centered on ocular coloboma and looking at the genetic basis of this, especially in certain families that were affected with this disorder. And I also learned to use the zebrafish as a model for studying the molecular basis of this. After that, I entered into general ophthalmology training. And in the UK, it's quite a long time, unlike some of the other countries. And in around 2011, I was offered the chance to become an academic clinical lecturer, which allowed me to continue my training 50% clinical and 50% research. And then following that track, I was appointed a consultant ophthalmologist and also applied for quite a prestigious medical research council fellowship from the Wellcome Trust that essentially allows me to spend up to 80% of my time on research and 20% of my time undertaking my normal clinical duties. And last year, I was appointed Professor of Molecular Ophthalmology at University College London. And I would say that my career has not taken any longer, apart from, say, the 3 years of the PhD, than any other ophthalmology trainee, because in the UK, they allowed me to do the 50% research alongside the clinical training and didn't ask me to extend my time. And maybe in the UK, it's a bit more unique, but there are established career pathways for those who want to enter into research and spend more of their time in that field. So why research? Well, I love the fact that Erin just spoke about her experience in research, because she is an ocular plastic surgeon. It's one of the specialties that, you know, aren't necessarily attributed to doing research, but she opened up with the perfect sentence saying that all she wanted to do was take good care of her patients. Well, research improves patients' lives. The medicine that you're practicing today is because of the research that was done, the evidence base for that. It advances medicine. If we don't undertake research, we can't continue to provide that excellent level of care and outcomes to patients. In the UK, at least, we are now finding that it's becoming mandatory that all clinicians undertake research. So research for all. And we're even talking about every patient who walks into the hospital should be offered access to research. We won't be able to validate until we can prove that we're doing research in our everyday work. So it's something that we all need to take on board, just like we do audits, or we, for example, you know, have to do so many clinical sessions. It should start to integrate into our job plans. But from a very personal perspective, it gives you autonomy and it allows you to challenge yourself and find out new discoveries and choose exactly what you want to look into. You develop these transferable skills and you become a world expert, or an expert at least in your field that people turn to. As clinicians, we're really lucky because we get to translate our research. So it's not always about being in a lab doing basic science research. It's just like Erin said, it can be trying to improve your clinical outcomes. And as I said, the academic career pathway is now established in a number of countries. But what I would say is that you do need to be quite self-motivated, organized. You should have good time management. It can be hard work, but it's incredibly rewarding. And I really like this picture because the key word in this picture is, I was just rubbing some sticks together for fun. Okay, research shouldn't be a chore. If you're not enjoying it, there's no point doing it. It's something that I, in my career, always really enjoyed. And it was only until in the very later stages of my career, when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do when I was a consultant, that the formal kind of research training opened up. Up until then, it was all about, free sessions, trying to answer questions and actually getting away from general service provision. So the metrics for success in academic ophthalmology, well, there are only two. One is the amount of money that you can bring in as grant funding, and two are publications. So really, you have to be really good at writing. You have to have new ideas and be good at forging collaborations, because you can't do research on your own. The best research comes from when you work as a team and you can share expertise and ideas. Grants do take a lot of time. You need to be very good at finances. You need to ensure you get preliminary data. You have all the infrastructure ready, ethical approval, animal licenses. And the whole process of getting a grant, I mean, you can spend, at least a month or more writing a grant, and then it kind of disappears off, and it can be more than 6 months before you get a reply. And sometimes that reply is not often favorable. And so resilience, and I cannot stress this enough, if this is a pathway you want to tread, you have to be resilient and you must be able to handle rejection almost on a weekly basis. And then obviously the publications, well, it's not often quantity, it's actually quality. And when you're going into a research career, it's about impact factor. And it's also about being first or last author. They are really the only two positions that show your commitment to that research. I want to emphasize clinical work, because sometimes people may say, oh, well, you may not be a good surgeon, or you're not as good clinically, that's why you've gone into research. Well, that's all rubbish. And I hope that Rebecca will stand up for me here, because she was my registrar when I was a trainee. But I was a pretty good surgeon, and I actually spent a long time having to decide to give up surgery. But people like Erin just highlight that you can do it both. You can do your specialty clinics, you can have your theatre sessions. In my case, I do adult and pediatric genetic eye disease. And so there's no need to do surgery at the moment. And when you work in very specialist centres like Moorfields and Great Ormond Street, you leave the cataracts to the general surgeons. When you're going into clinical, you can directly relate your research to this. You may run clinical trials, in my case, discover new genes. You provide that expert knowledge of the field and the latest research to your patients, which is very critical in my area of specialty: gene therapies, new trials that are underway. And most importantly, you are the person that provides hope to these patients. They will look up to you and your colleagues will look up to you. So just to conclude, academic ophthalmology is a fantastic career, and I cannot endorse it enough. I mean, prior to COVID, I would have said that one of the perks is you get to travel around the world giving talks, but now we all just sit at a computer screen. But as we all want to start traveling, maybe that will pick up again in the future. If there are any trainees or fellows listening to this, then if you're thinking about research, doing a PhD is advisable. We used to have a 2-year MD program, but now certain universities don't really endorse that anymore. And if you want to have all the opportunities open to you, a PhD would be great. But when you're wanting to do that, you need to plan 1 to 2 years in advance. Decide on the subject you want. Do you want basic science with the transferable skills for later on to your specialty of cornea or plastics or VR? Or if you're later on in your career, why don't you think about a subject within your own subspecialty that's going to build your name and standing? Then you have to find a good supervisor, one that fits you, and you need to make sure that you secure the right funding. The only downside is you are judged as a full-time clinician when you're doing your clinical work and a full-time scientist when you're doing your research. And that can be tough because you're having to give 100% to both, but you have less time attributed to both. But success to me is about the amount that you enjoy your work. Take your opportunities. And as Dr. Fatima said, she loved the fact she went cross borders for education. I would encourage you to consider crossing the borders for research too. And if any of you would like to get in touch, my email is m.musji@ucl.ac.uk. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Maria. That was very motivating. And as you said, for research, we have to be motivated, you have to be patient, you have to be resilient. All these are qualities which any woman would naturally possess, and definitely they can be very good researchers. And that's why I want to share that we in India, we started a Women in Research program through our society. And the main reason was we thought women had all these qualities, so they were a great resource for doing research. And though through this program, we have started research activities, and they are not like a pure research career, but it's a combination of research with clinical work. And it's actually whoever is doing is they're actually enjoying that. And so what you said was absolutely correct. We should do what we enjoy, and definitely research can give a lot of a lot of satisfaction once you do it. So everybody feels motivated with this, and I'm sure WOW is going to come out with great research plans and great research opportunities for everybody. So with this, we come to an end with all the talks, and we go on to one of the most important things today, and that is a panel discussion on opportunities that WOW is going to provide. In this panel discussion, we have everybody who's participating today is in the Executive Council of WOS, and in this panel discussion, we have some of our important WOW executives. We have Dr. Rosa Balsels from Chile. We have Dr. Maya Hada from India, Aarti Nangia again from India, Dr. Prabha Choksi from Kenya. We have Dr. Helen Herrera, Dr. Ligia Zhao. We have Dr. Pradeepa Shrivardhane from Sri Lanka, Dr. Sarah Chillis-Wester from US. I think she's joined, I'm not sure. Dr. Helen has not been able to join from Auckland. Dr. Ellie is there from Dr. Ellie Pradhan Ranjitkar from Nepal, who's our editor also, Dr. Nuzhat Chaudhary from Bangladesh, Dr. Indra Paudyal from Nepal, and Dr. Irit Barakwet from Israel. So I now welcome again Dr. Iman and Dr. Femida to start this panel discussion.
Thank you so much, Mohita. I just want to congratulate everyone here for their excellent presentations and for really the pearls that we've all heard about connecting together and bringing everyone together. So thank you all for being really ambassadors of change in your countries. And we're going to start off with Dr. Rosa from Chile and Dr. Pradeepa from Sri Lanka. Dr. Iman spoke about gender bias, and of course, we all every single one of us has experienced this in some shape and form in our training and as we progress in our fields. Can you comment in your experience? Do you feel that it's universal, and how can we manage it?
Hi, hello. Well, thank you for this. It's amazing to see in this organization going, growing up, and I think all the talks today has been very, very inspiring for all of us. In answering your question, Femida, I definitely think that this is global. All the countries in the world, and this has been studied, still have a big gender bias and a big job to work on. So there is huge difference between different countries, of course, and some countries have moved forward on this situation faster than others. And I really like this this organization global, because it will help us in to analyze what are the difficulties in each of our countries and try to learn from those countries that already go through some of those troubles, and then move forward on that, and also help other countries that maybe have different issues than ours.
I agree. Dr. Pradeepa, do you have any comments?
Sorry. I come from a small country where about 60 years ago, the world got its first prime minister from our country. But I think politically, women still take a they take a back seat, because we are underrepresented politically, and the profession of medicine in my country is not too bad for a woman, because most things happen on merit. If you are hardworking, then there's a chance that you may come up. Now, talking about ophthalmology, now we have a very small membership in the College of Ophthalmologists of Sri Lanka, and but the majority are women. I think because the majority of us are women, and probably because we are somewhat formidable, I think we have been able to hold on our own, and most presidents in our society have been women. But things are changing. Now fewer women are taking up ophthalmology, so we don't know what the future is going to be like. So I think mentoring, supporting trainees, and encouraging them to take up this field is important. I think women who are in a position should help other women, and that is the way out of this, because it may be difficult to change the attitudes of men. I think women have a greater role to play here. Thank you.
Absolutely, Dr. Pradeepa. Thank you very much for giving us that insight about how things are in Sri Lanka currently. And so there's a question that keeps coming from the audience, and I would like to ask Dr. Maya Hada about this one. What can be the member benefits from WOW?
Thank you, Dr. Iman, for that question. So being a member of Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide, as Dr. Mohita also mentioned in her message in the beginning, it's a wonderful opportunity for women ophthalmologists across the world who can utilize this platform for research, networking, and collaboration. WOW offers skill enhancement exchange programs, as Dr. Rebecca mentioned, the short-term fellowship, observership, and surgical training and mentorship program, and we'll be soon starting all of them. And also there is an opportunity to do a collaborative research, which includes the clinical as well as translational research. And one such research work is already in pipeline, which is regarding the rare eye diseases. And Women Ophthalmology Society in India is already working on it, and the editor IGO has welcomed this idea, and the special issue on this rare eye disease will be published next year in January 2022, and we all invite all of you to send articles for the same. Dr. Mohita is the chief guest editor for that. And apart from that, we are going to have our own journal in the future under the able editorship of Dr. Ali Pradhan from Nepal. And all the members can publish their articles over there and gain visibility. And for young ophthalmologists, WOW provides opportunity to be a part of its annual conference, the quarterly webinars, which will be organizing, and they can present their research work over there and do networking. Also, there is a lot to do for the members as a volunteer for social work. Like we have an outreach committee, and many of our members like Dr. Prabha Chokse from Kenya, they are doing great work. Like she has a trust for albino children and she is doing a wonderful job. So all the members, they can volunteer for such social work also. So it's a win-win situation. It's a totally free of cost. You can be a direct member or you can be a member through the Regional Women Ophthalmology Society. And today we'll be launching the website of WOW, where all the details for the online membership application is being given. And we welcome you to be a member of WOW.
Yes, we welcome. Thank you so much, Maya. It's so true. We welcome you all, and we would love you all to be ambassadors of WOW. You know, sharing the energy, and together we will achieve more for sure. So on that note, speaking about international growth and travel, Dr. Indira, can you comment on traveling abroad as it's needed for growing your career? That message from one of our speakers earlier about attending meetings, it was Dr. Vanessa who said attending meetings, creates a presence. Shows that you're interested. Speaking at the podium makes people know who you are. So I really think that it's really important. Can you comment, Dr. Indira, what you think? We can't hear you, Dr. Indira. If you could just unmute.
Yes, thank you. So when we go for international meetings, first of all, we introduce ourselves to the society where we are. So in my opinion, I have traveled from APAO leadership program to Bali, and I contributed doing few surgeries, glaucoma surgeries in children. I taught in residency program, university. And, it gave me a good opportunity to, first of all, introduce myself. And I got opportunity to meet other people. And I was surprised that, I had so many doctors, women ophthalmologists, who I could myself do networking and widen my area, as well as learned a lot from their, how their perspective is. So I feel that we get to do networking, and we introduce ourselves. We learn from people who are who we meet there. So there's a lot of opportunity to teach each other. That's what I feel.
I agree. I think that there's a lot of knowledge transfer at the meetings, and when we connect with people and visit them, observe their surgical techniques, or participate through social media, or, all of these platforms give us a chance to connect and learn. Okay, Dr. Iman?
Yes, and on that note, Dr. Femida, my most specific question was about the presentation that was done by Dr. Fatima about the international training opportunities. So I would like to ask Dr. Ali Pradhan about how do you think that would be an opportunity for professional growth?
For professional growth, having a good research, be able to write a good manuscript and be able to do publication in good journal, as Professor Maria said, in a good journal with good impact factor makes a lot of difference. And, with a number of good research papers, your career escalates very well ahead. I mean, of course, your clinical practice is there, and side by side, your academic career also improves with, being able to do publication in good journal. And in this group, there are so many distinguished ladies, ophthalmologists, who are very good at research. And also that is the reason why we are planning to have our own journal, and then a request for, multi-center trial as we suggested, and we can do our own work and do try to have a good teamwork, I think.
I agree. I think that there's a lot of opportunity to network and grow and support each other's research. On that note, Professor Nuzat, can I ask you, what do you think about combined research and translational research?
It's so inspirational when I hear all of you talk. See, the last two presentations were on research, and I'm sure the fellows who are listening to us today, or who will be listening to the videos, will be so inspired, because even as I'm a thesis guide, I'm a co-guide, I'm a teacher, I'm inspired, because you see, I'm a retina specialist, and when Maria talks about genetic disorders, there are so many of the RMDs and genetic disorders that we don't actually have any answers to. We don't have any good treatment for, so it's really such an opportunity, and as Ali Pradhan was saying, it is a good thing to have, to become professors or associate professors. Certain number of publications are necessary, index publications. So to enhance the growth of your career, researchers are so important, but when the opportunity comes to join a network that can give you the access to have a combined research in an international platform, so many colleagues from so many countries, and that would certainly be an index publication that would give you a peer-reviewed publication in a peer-reviewed journal, and the research opportunities would lead to further growth in not only for ourselves, but as Erin said, for the better treatment of our patients. I think this networking in a global stage can give the research opportunity of a combined research. I mean, the sky is the limit. So I think on the WOW platform, not only networking, we should utilize the network to have researches done in an international, cross-border between us, and also, so many people we can connect to. It gives you the opportunity to network and to really go for it. So I think it's very inspirational to see the opportunities that such a platform gives us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor Nuzat. Thank you for your input. And so another thing that I'm very passionate about, that will be social work and volunteering opportunities. And both Dr. Arti Nangia and Dr. Prabha Shoksi are doing tremendous, amazing work where they are. Could you please tell us more on how one can be more involved in those?
Thank you, Iman, for this question. Good evening, everybody. I think it was wonderful to hear all celebrated ophthalmologists here and so much to learn. I wish I were younger to get into the booths and get into any kind of fellowship or a research program. I feel social work is very important wing of any society. And I got the opportunity to work in a very, very, very well-placed, coveted Rotary organization. And from there, I understood the meaning of taking your clinical work into really the destitute homes. I had the opportunity to really operate a lot of blind school children who were really not blind. So you have to really be matter of meat into the society and into these areas where we have to really get into examining them and then operating them. So social work can benefit clinically. Being international now, we can really collaborate and look at areas where we can be very useful clinically to really the slums and the kind of the clan which is not able to come to the hospitals. So I guess this is very, very important thing.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arti. What would you say about that, Dr. Prabha?
Thank you very much. Actually, in the beginning, let me tell you that I've been really inspired. I have really felt so good attending this meeting. So let me tell you a little bit of my story. I've come from India to Kenya, and it was a total culture difference, because there in India you are doing so many things, and here suddenly you come to a different country, different people, different language, And then slowly you start observing. I was actually lecturer at University of Nairobi, but I started my private practice as well. Then you start observing, and suddenly these albino children came into my life, and I was so shocked to know that these children were actually many parts of Africa. They were being killed, their body parts are being sold. So I saw as a person that these children here are suffering just for. Then as an ophthalmologist, I saw just for a pair of glasses, can you believe in 2007, 70 to 80% were in blind schools. Just because, so I started offering them. But here also I want to tell you that you don't have to really go to slums, or you don't have to go in your own comfort zone, in your own practice. You can do a lot of social work. So I got the children to come to my clinic, and I started examining. We organized for them to give free services and free classes. But then I wondered that if I give glasses to children who are not in school, how does it serve my purpose? So we started our school sponsorship program, and that's how we have my foundation supports education of 80 to 90 children. And I just want to say that as a woman, as an ophthalmologist, as a mother, you can still look at society and find your place there, as I found it. And today I find that this job has given me such a lot of satisfaction. Every albino calls me mom, and that's such a good at this stage of my life when most of the women feel this empty nest syndrome because the children have all gone. All three children are in USA. So I was all alone, and suddenly this work has come, and I feel really, really very happy. And when I see these children coming to me with torn clothes and suddenly they come in school uniform, it's a joy I cannot express. So this job has given me tremendous satisfaction. As an ophthalmologist, I feel really grateful to God for giving me this opportunity. And I think every woman can do. You can pick up something that you like. Even if you're good at cataract, you can do a few free cataract surgeries in your clinic, in your practice, in your hospitals. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Prabha. I love it. It's so inspiring to see your posts. And it is inspiring for us all to see what all of the breadth of our work, right? So, whether we're in residency, fellowship, early in practice, late in practice, transitioning from clinical practice to research, or transitioning to doing NGO work, doing more social work, we're all making an impact. We are all very, very powerful. And I think that's the key. So with that thought, Susan, can you comment, Dr. Susan McDonald, can you comment about your change to volunteer and participate in I-Corps?
I'm delighted to do this. My role for 25 years was teaching cataract surgery at Tufts and seeing patients, but I did an extensive amount of outreach work. And what became apparent to me is when we were doing outreach work, we'd fly into an area, we would do a lot of cataract surgery, some retinal surgery, and then we would fly out. And I would make a lot of friendships, but I realized what we were doing really didn't make a lot of sense. It was very ego-driven of us going and trying to change things, but then going back to our own lives. So I really started looking at trying to find a different way to solve the problem. And we created 4 years ago a women-driven a nonprofit that works in East Africa now. And what we do is we identify doctors that are participating in communities that have a high cataract blindness. And we're providing them with equipment, training, and mentorship. And we're doing that with men and women. But what we're trying to do is use our female powers of supporting people and trying to launch careers and successful careers in areas of high cataract blindness. And I have to say, that is how I met Dr. Prabha, because we had a patient in common that we were talking with. But this is a completely new part of my life, but it's so empowering. I am a powerhouse. I have connections in the United States that I am tapping. I'm learning how to shake people down for money, and I'm getting people to donate money. And I feel like I'm really providing, I'm really changing the world in a way that I didn't think I was going to do it. But I have to say, my team is 95% women. And it's so different because we are a real team and we are forced to, when we come in, we are so embracing of the community, and we've learned so much that we sort of lead from behind then instead of leading, being in charge. And the lack of ego has been really incredible to work with so many women and see us how much we can do by supporting each other.
It's exciting, Susan, to see this transition. So I think that it brings us back to what Namrata said, Dr. Namrata said in the beginning, we are maybe invited to a seat somewhere or a panel somewhere or a committee somewhere. But then what do we do with it? It's like a chance we are given, right, to either change something in ophthalmology. So I'm really excited about what this network, what WOW has done in bringing us together. And I want to thank you all for participating and contributing here today. And I want to build on this energy as we grow WOW worldwide. So with that, we will just wrap up our webinar. Dr. Iman and Dr. Mohita.
Yes. Much for all the speakers, everyone who attended with us today. I was just asking everyone to please put your videos on so we can take one last screenshot of this really, really historic day. At least for me, I believe having a woman ophthalmologist worldwide society finally happening and doing things is a great deal. And I would love to frame a photo of all of us. So give me your biggest smiles and I'll take the screenshot. Done.
Okay, we might need one with a W.
Oh,
for
yes.
WOW. Come on. Let's be really creative. Sorry, I'm just thinking about this right now.
I love this.
I don't know if you could get your W up and take a screenshot. I'm going to try with my hand here.
I didn't work, but it's great to see everyone doing it. I'll take one more.
Yeah, let's try. Okay, I love the W. Wow, really, you're all wow. And I think that's the message. We want to just thank our sponsors from NTOD. So thank you so much, Angela, for supporting us. It's really amazing to see you as leading NTOD. And I really appreciate the messages you shared. And we want to just have our video from NTOD to end our program today.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I will just like to share my screen. So good evening, doctor and WOW Executive Committee doctors. This WOW webinar is supported by NTOD Pharmaceutical. As you maybe know, NTOD Pharmaceutical is India's fastest growing ophthalm and ENT company. Also, it's the fastest growing in the many emerging countries globally, even though in this current time, as per the recent IQVIA data. And as we all know, this week is in the medical calendar is known for the Retinoblastoma Awareness Week, as we had NTOD celebrating and supporting to increase the awareness about the retinoblastoma in this week from the 10 to 16 May 2021. Retinoblastoma white glow is not the right glow. Also, this year, unlike the last year, is going from a COVID-19, but the COVID frontline warrior, Indian police are on the road and they are making us the safe and secure in the summertime. For them, we have initiated the police eye care kit along with the Rotary Club of Seacoast, that is the non-profitable social organizations from Mumbai. It contains the tear substitute, Loctite fusions and the lateral hydrate products, face masks, face shields and hand sanitizer for them. Nowadays, only digital media in this kind of the virtual webinars and the conference are helping pharma companies like us to be present over the NTOD innovative and the novel products video. First, I will like to show DCGI recently approved our Phenocan Plus video. As our second unique dosage forms product is Accusade Uni AD in the PRK. Thank you so much to wow all the doctors for giving us the 2 minutes opportunity to showcase our products. Especially thanks to Dr. Mohita Sharma, and over to you, Arti ma'am.
Yes, so continuing from
Thank
where
you.
Dr. Famida left us, saying thanks, but I would just want to quote one thing. A strong woman is one who feels deeply, loves fiercely, her tears flow as abundantly as her laughter. A strong woman is both soft and powerful. She's both practical and spiritual. A strong woman loves, forgives, walks away, lets go, tries again, perseveres, no matter what life is at for her. Today, I feel all this for our chairpersons. I think for Femida, I just wanted to say a real beauty should be defined in the way a woman treats the other people, the way she exhibits joy and her confidence in the parts of her that make her so unique. For Mohita, I would say, she believed she would, she did, and so we are here. So when I say all the speakers spoke wonderfully, there's every bit of it to inspire us. All of them, we made societies to enhance and make women powerful. It was so heroic to hear Dr. Susan talk about she's a powerhouse now, and it is going to imbibe into us. We'd say we dream big, but today I'll say shout out and say we are at WOW. Please bring in, please join us. So there are so many wings. The USP is going to be the mentor-mentee, the networking, the education, the research, the fellowship, and here we are, real powerhouses. I think I thank everybody being here, and I think it was amazingly inspiring. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mohita, and all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
I am the person only finished within 5 minutes. That's because Mohita is always giving the message 5 slides, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, even before starting. That is why I was so rushed and I have finished within 5 minutes. But I have seen everybody is taking much time, and it is of course very much impressive and amazing session, as because we learn also from the other speaker. Thank you so much. Thank you, Femida. Femida, I will do it in my next 29th May. Same, I will not stick to my
warm up for the Orbis.
7 minutes. 7 minutes.
Femida. I really hate interrupting everyone.
Rebecca.
You did. It was fabulous.
Pradeep.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Mohita.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Best wishes for all of you.
Yes, that's